I know you guys probably can't tell, but I was a really good kid when I was younger. And I was so good, I can remember distinctly the times I got in trouble, because it happened so rarely. And I'm not trying to brag. But I remember one specific incident that happened when I was about 11. I was in my room doing my homework, because I was a good kid, and I heard my mom yelling from downstairs, "Madeline, get down here right now. You have a lot of explaining to do. Get down here." So I ran downstairs because I wanted to find out what I did. And when I got to my mom, she was sitting on the recliner, holding the house phone in her hand. And she asked me, "Guess who I just got off the phone with?" I had no idea, so I said, "Grandma," because I know she talked to my grandparents all the time. And she said, "No, guess again." So I said, "Grandpa." And then she started getting agitated, but she didn't give me any hints. We could have been playing this game back and forth all day. So she said, "No, Christine's mom called me." And Christine was my best friend at the time. So I had no idea why her mom would call my mom. And she would have been guess number 73 if my mom made me keep guessing. So I was like, "Oh, what happened? What did she want?" And my mom said, "She just wanted me to know that you and Christine got into her spice cabinet and half of her spices are missing." And then she went on this rant about how expensive spices were and how some are rare and how some, you need for certain times of the season. And it was fall at that time, so she was out of important spices, and she kept going on. And I was standing there like, I don't know what the big deal is, because it's just spices, but now reflecting as an adult who's had to pay for her spices for like 10 years, I kind of get it now. I kind of understand. But at the time, I was just taking it. And then my mom asked me, "What were you doing with the spices? What were you two doing?" And I did something I didn't usually do. I lied to my mom. And I said, "Christine and I were pretending to be on a cooking show." And my mom bought it. It sounded reasonable. So she told me to go up to my room and really think about what I did. So I made my way up there, and I laid in my bed, and I thought about how Christine's mom kind of did me bogus because I thought we had something special, so she totally tattletaled on me, and that made me upset. But I was also thinking about what Christine and I were actually doing with the spices. You see, the day before I got in trouble, I had a sleepover at Christine's house, and we watched The Craft. And for the uninitiated, The Craft is a supernatural horror flick about 4 teenage girls in a Catholic high school who dabble with witchcraft, and then they find out just how dark the dark arts get. And after the movie ended, Christine jumped to her feet, and she said, "Do you want to do a spell?" And I jumped to my feet, and I said, "Yes, do you have a cauldron?" And she said, "I got the next best thing. I got a chili pot." So we run to her kitchen, we fill the chili pot with water and Coca-Cola. I grab a bunch of her mom's spices. We make our way back to Christine's bedroom because we wanted to spell cast in private. And while we were dumping spices into our chili pot cauldron, I asked Christine, I said, "Will your mom be upset about this? Like if she finds out?" I kind of had this feeling that we would get in a little bit of trouble. And Christine assured me, "No, my mom is not going to care. We just have to leave out the witch part." Because Christine and I were both raised very Catholic, and spell casting is a little bit frowned upon in the Catholic Church. So I thought that was reasonable, and we stuck to a 1/3 rule with the spices because we felt like there's no way her mom's going to tell if a third of her spices are gone in the jar. In hindsight, it probably should have been like a 1/10 rule, because missing 33% of your spices is pretty noticeable. But at the time, we were throwing everything in. We were throwing oregano, cinnamon, cumin, garlic powder, so much salt, just a metric ton of salt. And we stirred it up, waved our hands around it, tried to remember things from the movie that we heard them say. We were taking it very seriously. And the reason why we were taking it so seriously is because this wasn't just any potion. This wasn't a love potion. This was a revenge potion that we were going to give to the kids who bullied us. So this is serious stuff, man. And when we were done, Christine suggested that we try the potion, kind of as an initiation, but also to see how it tasted. We were going to try to give this to people. It was the least we could do. This stuff smelled so bad. I still remember, you can't unremember Coca-Cola, oregano, and cinnamon. Like, that's a smell that will haunt you. And Christine ran and got some Dixie cups to fill. She downed hers one shot like a champ. So proud of her. I could not take a sip of it because it smelled so bad, but I had to fake it. So I just gently let it hit my lips, and I was like, oh, that's the stuff right there. And we both decided that it was too strong of a smell to discreetly spike someone's Capri Sun with. So we abandoned this revenge plot. We dumped it in the sink, didn't think much of it. And so a few days after I got in trouble, I was walking home, and I started getting pelted with rocks. And I look around me, and I see Matt Hayes throwing rocks at me. And he sees me see him, so he drops what he has in his hands, and he runs like a coward. Matt Hayes, it's like he's here. And the next day at recess, I confronted Matt, and I asked him, why were you throwing rocks at me? And his answer was simple: because you're a witch. And I just thought to myself, did Christine's mom call everybody's mom? How does he know about this spell? How does he know? We didn't tell a soul. And usually I would say, you know what, Matt, forget you, and walk back to my friends. But I was compelled by this energy to stick up for myself. So I got really serious, and I said, Matt, if I was a witch, don't you think I would have turned you into a toad by now? Which was the comeback of the century. I couldn't come up with a better thing to say today. And Matt was so terrified that he just stood there, his mouth agape, eyes wide, and I made my way very coolly back to my friend group. And Matt didn't bully me anymore. And for a while, I thought it must be because I drank the potion. The spell must have worked this whole time. I later found out that my dad called Matt's dad about the rock incident, just to let him know. I just wanted you to know what your son has been doing. And Matt got in big trouble. So say what you will about witches. Parents are the true agents of chaos. Thank you, guys.